Hello everybody and welcome back to Cask and Point. Today we're going to be trying Redemption's new 18-year bourbon. Now this bourbon is $400, which is not cheap for any bottle of whiskey. So the bar here today is very high and we're going to find out if this is actually worth it at all or if this is something to just totally avoid. Now, Redemption has an interesting history. It's a non-distilling producer similar to a lot of the brands that we review here on the channel, the River Roots and the NBCs and the Rare Characters of the world, except it's actually been around for about 15 years. It was founded in 2009 and grew to some fame in the mid-2010s as it was sourcing some really solid MGP whiskey. However, it just never really got into the single barrel game. So other brands around those years like the Belle Meads, like the good old Smooth Amblers, those really rose to fame and actually still have quite a bit of popularity today in a way that Redemption just doesn't really have. And that's because they just go for these blended products. They do release a lot less, they source a lot less, they do a lot less. And so they just haven't really been on that forefront for a while. But this release is going to be fun. So the last time they released something somewhat similar, in 2017, they released an 18-year rye. That 18-year rye was very popular. Many people really enjoyed it. It has quite the secondary market on it. They also released something absolutely ridiculous around the same time, which was a 36-year bourbon, which is the oldest bourbon that I've ever heard of. And that actually recently sold in auction for, I believe, around $20,000. And I've been told it tastes like wet dog. Like, it's actually no good at all. But you know what? It's really quite the collector's item. You don't find whiskey like that. It's going to be decades before we see whiskey like that regularly. So yeah, that's what they've done. Now they've released an 18-year bourbon. Now let's talk a little bit about this release. So this release is 2,400 bottles. It's from 69 different barrels, which means that the average yield on those barrels was actually pretty low. And then the MSRP, like I said, is $400. It's a blend of high rye and low rye mash. So MGP, they have a 36% rye, 60% corn, 4% malted barley mash. That's their high rye. And then their low rye is going to be 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. And so they've actually blended those two together, so we have barrels from both lots in here. It was distilled in 2006, which is actually a very famous year for MGP. People say that pre-2008 MGP is just absolutely special, and there's not really a good reason why. It's just MGP from that era was just really, really good, and I think we saw some of that when we were trying those good old Boss Hogs from 2017, 2018, those 14, 15-year rye whiskeys that were really getting to some incredible depth and complexity, nothing like we have today. So, distilled in 2006, 18 years old, it's 103.4 proof, MSRP is $400. Let's get into it and let's find out if it's any good. Now you might be wondering, there is a second glass here. This is actually my favorite release from River Roots. This is an 18-year River Roots, and I want to try this against it because this is also 18-year MGP. It's 118 proof, and this bottle just keeps climbing on the secondary market. It's honestly worth about $1,000 right now, which is kind of nuts because it was like $500 a few months ago, but we're going to try them together and just to give us a little bit of a basis here. So let's get into this Redemption 18-year bourbon. On the nose here, I'm getting a typical berry fruitiness that I got off of MGP. Tons of oak at the forefront there. It's actually smelling pretty hot. It's definitely not smelling 103 proof. Getting some cherry in there as well, which is interesting. It's actually very oaky. I'm getting like a wood varnish kind of note on it. Oaky, some fruit. There is some caramel, a little bit of maple on this. Wow, that's actually really interesting and pretty well balanced. Let's take a sip. Interesting. Okay. Not a super thick mouthfeel on it. Not super viscous. But going down. It actually has a really nice balance. It has a really nice oakiness to it. And a really nice fruitiness to it. It's not punching you in the face. You definitely can tell on the palate that it is sub 110 proof. Which isn't great for a lot of people. I know a lot of people really seek out higher proofs. I tend to be the kind of person that does that as well. But I've been learning to appreciate these sub 110, sub 120s, these non-hazmat, these lowly non-hazmats that I've been trying to warm up to a little bit more. This is good. This is good. It's not jumping out to me as something that's absolutely incredible. It's not jumping out to me as a must-have. At least on that first sip here, I will say it's a very classic MGP bourbon done really well. Like, this is going to give you the berry fruitiness that you look for. A little bit of that cherry that I really enjoy, almost like an oxidized cherry kind of thing going on it. And then it also has this really nice oak structure to it, this like toasted oak, and some really nice caramels and vanillas in there. It has all the notes. It's hitting all the spots there, and there's a good balance to it. It's just the way it's doing it It's 103 proof. Like, if you give me all these flavors at 120, oh man, we'd be in business. But you do feel the 103 on this one, which for some people, that's what they're really looking for here. But I almost feel like you can just ramp this up. Like, it's kind of full-bodied in the sense that you do have a front, mid, and late palate, but it's just not super potent in a way that I typically, can still get off of sub 110 proofs, but not getting off of this on that first sip. Let's take a second sip here. Okay. It's really good. It is really good. I can't disrespect that. But it's not worth $400. If I would rank it in the whiskeys of the year, and I was price aside, and I would say, okay, like, is this a top 10? It probably is. I think if you look purely in, like, compared to Jack Daniel's 14 year, compared to Beacon, compared to Heaven Hill 19 year, all the really big releases that we've seen this year, this is up there. Like, in pure quality, this is up there. It's $400. And I don't think it's as good as Calumet 18. I don't think it's good as Jack Daniel's 14 year. And those bottles have, an MSRP for Calumet, a secondary for Jack Daniel's at around $450. So the price range is actually there. These whiskeys are getting expensive. But I'm not entirely sold on that one. We will come back to it. Let's go on to this River Roots here. This is 118 proof, I believe. So we are getting a little bit more punch on this one. I'll say, though, getting a lot more orange, kind of orange zest on this. It's actually not as pleasant on the nose. It's a ton of orange, and I don't mind orange, but I do typically like dark berries and cherry a little bit more. Much more potent, though, I will say. Like, that was drinking a little bit overproof. This is drinking a little bit overproof as well, but I think the proof is much higher. I think it's 118. I'll put it on your screen. I'm pretty sure it's 118. It's a blend, so it's a 5-barrel blend here. That was 165 bottles. So averaging about 30 bottles per barrel, which is pretty nuts. All right, let's take a sip. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. A very orange candy. Has a little bit of cherry peeking out on it. Doesn't have the depth of oak that I was getting on the Redemption 18 year, though, which is interesting. Like, you could tell me this was a really good 13 year, and I'd believe you, which isn't a good thing. Like, I like my 18-year-old whiskey when I'm paying 18-year-old whiskey prices to taste like 18-year-old whiskey. And this, to me, actually has an interesting youthfulness to it, which I wouldn't have expected coming into this. It's still really good. And I believe the MSRP on this one was like $165. It was something insanely low for what this kind of barrel would charge today. So I don't know how this release exists. I'll say for $165, this is incredible. Say for $250, this is also really good. I think if this was $400, I also would really kind of pull back from it. The fact that the secondary on this bottle is significantly more, yeah, let people spend their money the way they want to. I would not encourage buying this for $800, for $1,000, for even $600. It's really good, though. I mean, and the fact that I think that River Roots did this is one of their earliest special releases, too, which is also really impressive. Okay, let's finish this off here. Let's give it a rating, and then we'll go back to our good old Redemption 18 year. Yeah, it's good. It actually does get much oakier when you really leave it in your mouth. And the orange is definitely getting deeper. It's like an orange zest, ultra orange candy, ultra orange marmalade. Like, I'm getting different elements of orange that I really enjoy. And it does have some nice spice characteristics to it towards the late palate, towards the finish on that one. It's actually a very good pour of whiskey. I don't want to talk poorly about that pour of whiskey just because it's $1,000 in secondary. Because I think $165 for $200, I'm honestly gonna say, yeah, I think for like $250, that bottle is worth it. I think over that, I start to struggle a little bit more, and that's just purely a profile thing. I don't tend to be an orange fan. I think if the orange gets really sweet, like an orange marmalade, I can really enjoy it. If there's also other things going on, but I think for this one, I don't know. I don't absolutely love it. Let's go back to this Redemption 18 year. And this has the dark berries, and it has the cherries on it, which I do tend to prefer. It's lighter, though. Okay, let's take a sip. You know, it's interesting. Going into this comparison, I would have totally told you, if I tried that the River Roots 18 year was definitely better. And I think side-by-siding a lot of things, that's important in the whiskey world, because from memory is very powerful, and if you tried something, 10, 20, 30 times, I can get it. This is a whiskey I've only actually tried once, and I tried it very briefly, and I think I only had like maybe a quarter ounce in it, but I really enjoyed it. And I would have said that, oh, this Redemption 18 year is definitely not as good. No, it's definitely as good. I actually like it slightly more. I will warn you though, it is much more oaky. So if you don't love like just a real oak bomb to your whiskey, you will enjoy the River Roots more. I think if you really like those kind of like oxidized cherry, like it's not a maraschino cherry, it's not a super sweet cherry, it's like a dried fruit kind of cherryness on it, which is really nice. And then you also combine that with some dark berries, some nice spices. I think that's a very solid release. I still struggle to say it's worth $400. I think if you have all the money in the world and you want some interesting older MGP bourbons, this is unlike pretty much anything that you can get typically. So for that reason, I would invest in it, but this is not a bottle that I would say is totally worth it. I think it was like 300. I'd be closer. But I would say, I think the River Roots 18 year here, I'm gonna rate this a good old 8.4. And then I think this is gonna be an 8.5. It's very slightly better. I think this does have more potency on it. It is really nice with that depth of the orange on it. I do just like the really rich oak and the berries and the fruitiness on the Redemption 18 more. But 8.5, solid rating, solid showing. Worth $250? Yeah. Worth $300? Probably. $400. Man, these bottles know how to really just give you the price right above what I think it's worth, because Calumet 18 did the same thing. And, okay, no, it's probably not worth it, but if you have the money, buy it. It is really, really good. With that, I hope you all have fun. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.